All right, welcome back everybody. This is 7 in all, and today I have another flip through video ready for you of Ready to Read Book 3. Now if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I do have flip through videos of Ready to Read 1 and Ready to Read 2 already posted, but I will link those below in case you haven't seen those yet and you're trying to figure out which Ready to Read unit is right for you and your child to start off with. So Ready to Read is the Learn to Read series of units from Gather Round, and I will be giving you a look inside both the teacher's guide and the student book and giving you some tips and pointers on what pieces you might want to laminate to prepare, what kind of extras you might want to prepare, and what's being covered so that you will know how to place your child very well. So if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to our channel 7 in all down below for more videos just like this one and more videos from our creative and adventurous homeschooling family. So I'm excited to share this one with you. Like I mentioned, this is Ready to Read 3, Ice and Snow. Ready to Read books 1 and 2 cover reading CVC words, or basically short vowel words. Ready to Read book 1 covers the A and E short vowel sounds for A and E, and Ready to Read 2 covers short vowel sounds for I, O, and U. So here we are moving on to long vowel words. Just like the other Ready to Read books, this contains 9 weeks in all and 36 lessons in all, because each week has 4 lessons and then a review day. So the setup is very similar to the other books of Letters and Numbers and the other Ready to Read books. We have a This Week We'll Cover weekly snapshot page, which gives you a glimpse. I recommend reading these to prepare. Sometimes they'll give you ideas of kind of maybe what to focus on or little extras that you can have. There's always some little note which might be about kind of homeschooling tips in general, or life skills, or else for character building. So some little note for something to focus on here, but they give you a look at what's being covered. So for language arts, we're covering silent E for long A words, the sight words we, me, and be, and the digraph ch. Alright, so that is the weekly snapshot page. Let's look at what the lessons look like. Now this is called Ice and Snow, and I've seen a lot of people mention that it'd be really nice to cover if you're during the winter season. And certainly, yeah, that's fun. I mean, we don't have a winter season where we live, and I do want to mention, even if you don't have winter, I wouldn't say that this unit's theme is so much winter focused as it is polar region focused. So the science focus is kind of on the geography of polar regions and on the animals of polar regions. So I guess if you're like me and you don't have any winter, or even if you have winter, you won't be happening to work on these skills during the winter, I guess don't be too disappointed, because it's not like super tied into like winter activities. It's much more polar regions. So we have our same format of a very short, simple lesson. So here is basically introduction to North Pole, South Pole, Arctic, Antarctica. We have a short 3 review questions and our Bible connection. Oh, the focus for the Bible connection. If you're familiar with Ready to Read, each unit has its own theme for Bible. The first unit was Proverbs theme, second unit was Psalms theme, and this one, the whole theme is Gospel. So you're going through the Gospel story, through the story of Jesus' life in this unit. So that's exciting, that's a fun, of course, awesome, important theme. There's extension activities included at times. And then we get to, polar bears here in the first week. 2 lessons on polar bears. It generally roughly follows the same rhythm of 2 main science focuses in a week. We have our review page with a couple of questions, an optional activity which is always focused on some type of kinesthetic application, just really simple, and a little prayer here. Then we have our second week. This week the focus for science are harp seals and beluga whales, Jesus lost in Jerusalem and Jesus' miracle at Cana, And then we have all the rest of these are covered in the student book, which we will look at in just a minute. This is a life skill, so there's one kind of like handy around the house life skill and one memory skill. So we're getting harp seals, the adult harp seal as well as baby harp seals here, and beluga whales. So you can see there's lots of ideas for different little extensions. And this is the teacher's guide. So pretty simple, straightforward. You read one page in a day. Here's our character building, which is tied in here to the gospel focus, Jesus' stories of healing. We get some science behind why are the poles cold, geography of Antarctica, and then we move on to leopard seals. So the seals, some seals from the South Pole, while harp seals are more in the Arctic regions. And a review. So it goes like this, where this is up to week 4. So we've made it pretty far through the teacher's manual already. And week 4 is penguin week. So actually for this one, it's a little bit different. You learn about one different penguin species each day. So emperor penguins, Adelie penguins, chinstrap penguins, and I think the next one was Gentoo penguins. So you get to learn about the penguins, but then I wanted to show you the student book. But just before that, I do want to talk about a change that is happening, or that did happen with Ready to Read 3, is that the whole appendix got moved to the back of the teacher's guide. So all the cutouts for the student book, any math manipulatives, is all in the back of the teacher's guide. And I would watch for this when you're printing it at home, because for me, I would not bind, like I would just bind it, I would bind all the lessons for the teacher's guide together, and that's what I'm planning to do. But then everything in the appendix, I'm going to have separate, because I think it's going to make it easier to use. So there's a few things you might want to laminate. I would laminate the daily calendar routine, which this is really meant as kind of like an oral routine. What date is it? What month is it? What year is it? What's the weather like? What's the time? Bringing awareness to a calendar routine without having to like fill out a calendar every time. So I think this is nice. I would laminate it or put it in a page protector and use it every time. And then this is also manipulative that you'll want to prepare and probably laminate the background page as well as the small pieces. There are instructions in the book for this, but this is basically gather rounds manipulatives for teaching place value. Hundreds, squares, tens, circles, and ones, triangles. And I think it makes a lot more sense once you read the stories and the explanations, and then you kind of use that to visualize place value. But these little pieces, I think, will definitely need to be prepared, cut out, and laminated for you to use again and again. Here is the scope and sequence right here. So I'll let you take a little look at that. Got language, arts, and phonics, Bible and character, math, art, which includes a few picture studies from a couple artists, just a few, and then different art projects, social studies, science, and geography. All right, so here we have phonics. Okay, so starting, this is, this is Ready to Read. This is the big deal. We've got our phonics page here, which we're moving from CVC, short vowel words, to long vowel words. So we're emphasizing the difference between I am mad, I made a hat. Here we're supposed to color the letter in each word and then practice reading it. So starting at the beginning and blending the letters till you go. Now this is for kids who do have experience with reading short vowel words and blending them together, but now we're just adding in the long vowels. There are flashcards for all words that are learned in the back of the teacher's guide. So that's something also you might want to cut out and laminate or prepare, or maybe just make them on cardstock, print it on cardstock ahead of time. Here is our, every week kind of starts usually with an applied math kind of page. This is applying math to the idea of making hot chocolate. And this is pretty fun little recipe. I like that it has very kid-friendly way to mix it is just to shake it. Shake until you mix it. But the main idea behind this is kind of learning, okay, what different parts of recipes mean. You have a little story time extension. Do you have a story of your own experiences of a cooking mishap or a recipe gone wrong? So this is something you can make the recipe, and of course hot chocolate mix is always good. I actually have some right now because it's almost Christmas, and even though it's the tropics, I need my hot chocolate at Christmas time. But if you don't want to make it, you can just kind of spend time looking at how it works and maybe make one of your own recipes. Here is a sorting activity because we're just getting comfortable with telling the difference between short and long vowel sounds. So the kids get to cut these out and sort them, and you could paste it on a paper. I think if you'd like to kind of keep it as a reference, if your kids love gluing, mine does, so that would be fun. This first social studies project is an ongoing project for a couple of weeks that you're making little pages to create a booklet that's something like my home, my city, my state, my country, my planet, that kind of thing. If you've seen that sort of project before, and there's something little that you add to each page every time, and you get to talk about, your child's place in the world. So that was all, let me see. That was all for lesson 1. So you get 4 activity pages for each lesson. Now we're on to lesson 2, which I thought this was pretty neat. Just as a change the sound thing. So you can see that the E's are printed on the back of this page. You fold it over and it will change cap to cape, man to main, Sam to same, can to cane as you go. So those will be really cool. Something that you could use a couple times in a row if your kid is needing more practice. You can see all the little silent E's added there. Here are math focus. We're learning about the greater than and less than signs, which the on-theme polar bears that are taught about this week. Comparing 3 and 1 and 5 and 8. Then we have our picture study, which I did print this on save ink setting on my printer, so it's maybe not the bestest printing of this picture, but I don't think it looks bad. Seen in the Arctic by William Bradford. And this is, of course, for young kids, so this is a dictation style page. The parent is instructed to read the questions and ask the child to answer verbally, and then the parent is intended to fill in the answers for these questions. But a little intro to looking at old art and studying it. Here we have 3 sight words. It's doing 3. They're very short sight words. You can have just little activities about it. Right there where you get to cut out. Here is basic rule: sentences begin with uppercase letters. So we're circling the uppercase letter that each sentence begins with and then copying it. So a little bit of copy work practice. Here we're trying to unscramble the sentence. You can use the uppercase letter as a clue to where the sentence begins, and the word that has a period at the end as a clue to where it ends. So that is fun. This cat will chase a rat. All right, we're more practice with comparing sets of numbers. And there's a little reminder in here for you to do your calendar routine each day. This is lesson 3. We have some practice with adding, which was already introduced in Ready to Read 1. Now they get to make up problems, and then you get to compare the solutions. This is a Bible connection page, which was they were learning about the story of the birth of the Savior and then putting in order what happened, and having your child kind of retell the story. Then here are the mini books. The mini books now are slightly changed, that if there's any kind of long extra words, I'm gonna say okay, so recipe, that's an extra word. It did connect to something that the kids did this week, but that's an extra word that hasn't been explicitly taught. There are flashcards to practice those story words in the appendix of the teacher's guide. If you want to put extra practice into those, you can, as kind of learning some sight words, or you can just read them for your child. So I think you can adapt. So, and then this is how the little mini book looks. You get a mini book each week. Here's a review of some math principles that have been covered already or covered in this week. A few math problems, names of 3D shapes. Here is language arts and art. Finish the sentences. You're choosing one with a silent E or not a silent E. And then a little bit of art here to draw a snowflake. That's cool. And then here you get science, a little science review. You get some dot to dot, easy. Finish the snowman from 1 till 20. And here you get the questions, true and false questions. And all of this information is based on what you read in the student book, or the teacher's guide, sorry. And then here, now we're doing long I words and including our new digraph. What? So that is your little peek inside how it's gonna work, what's included, what the design is like. There's a lot of fun stuff included in the student book. I didn't mention it, but for math, there is money included. So there's quite a few money manipulatives that you might want to prepare. Where is that? Yeah, money manipulatives using the Spooner bucks. There's counting by hundreds and fives that you get the place value to a hundreds place, and that's what those manipulatives were for. So there's quite a bit of cool stuff. We've got some anatomy pages, some life cycle pages. You even get about the tilt of the earth. So this is very rich. There's a lot to do. You're gonna have a lot of fun for 9 weeks with this one.